Hi, high school students. I know that you asked me to make a quick video about how to do our final exam and the bowing techniques on it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the technique that we're going to be demonstrating, as well as playing through the excerpts to give you an idea of what they should sound like. Our first excerpt is on the spiccato. The spiccato is in the center of the bow. So if you want to think of it on the instrument about right here, and you want to make sure that it's bouncing off of the string just slightly, almost like you're dribbling a basketball. That's always what I like to think of when I think of spiccato. There's a little bit of up and down motion with it as well. It's kind of like you're making a V across the point. So if I were going to do the stroke without or just in the air without my violin, that's probably what it would look like. All right, so let's go ahead and play through the first excerpt here, the spiccato excerpt. So the hardest part, I think, about spiccato is making sure that the notes stay even and that the bounce is going da 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 the whole time. Getting it to be nice and even, I think, is going to be the most challenging part of playing the spiccato stroke correctly. So I would start by practicing just on an open string. Eventually, you can try it with a metronome. That might be helpful too. All right, so to talk about the next excerpt, collegno. So collegno, as you know from your vast amount of studying that you should be doing, it means to be played with the wood of the bow. This excerpt that we're going to be playing is a very famous excerpt from Gustav Holst's Mars from the Planet Suite. It's a really excellent piece of music. I suggest you check it out sometime, and this is what the entire string section does for a good chunk of the piece, and it has a really cool effect. So what we're going to do is, instead of playing with the bow hair, we're going to be turning the bow on its side so that way the stick is contacting the bow. It has a bit of a bounce like the spiccato, you know, to have sort of like a hammered kind of effect. And it also remains probably in about the center of the bow. I mean, I guess you can do it like a ricochet as well, but for this excerpt, we're gonna be focusing on the same style of technique as doing like a spiccato, bouncing the bow slightly. You don't have to have any sort of up and down motion. It's literally just bouncing the bow up and down on the string, and that will be enough sound. So this is how you play the collegno part excerpt, the excerpt from Mars. So similar to the spiccato, as you just heard from my doing it as well, it's going to be difficult to keep some of these notes and patterns even. So that is what I would do to practice this. Practice just doing a controlled bounce and then eventually a dribble. Like that. So that's how you do a collegno stroke with the bow, and that's what that means, and that's what it sounds like. So the next stroke we're going to be working on is called hooked bowing. And hooked bowing is probably one of the most common bow techniques that we do, and it helps us to make our dotted 8/16 rhythms super tight. You'll often see this stroke done when you have rows of dotted 8/16, and this is what it sounds like. So you want to think up, up, down, up, down, or down, up, down, up, so on and so forth, and that same pattern. So this is how our hooked bowing excerpt goes. We start on an up bow, and it's piano, and we want to make sure that we get our steady, even rhythm, as well as doing the correct bow stroke and style. So that's what you want to do for that excerpt. Really make sure that the bow is moving fluidly and that we're getting nice phrasing, and the rhythm is digga 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 digga, or da 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 if you're subdividing. All right, so our next stroke is called the ricochet. And the ricochet is similar to the spiccato, but instead of being done in the center of the bow, we're going to do it at the tip. And it's a little bit more of a fast sort of hitting of the strings, and it has a really precise kind of show off kind of sound. At least that's what I think it sounds like to me. So the hardest part of the ricochet, similar to the spiccato, is making sure that you have good control over the stroke and that you don't accidentally play too many notes or accidentally play not enough notes. So I would focus on just trying your best to get the rhythm that is in this excerpt down, which is the 16th note triplet, and I would just practice doing that rhythm on an open string. So a whole bunch of times you could practice doing that. As you can see from that stroke, I'm using a little bit of up and down, but not a whole lot to get some tone there. It's not but rather at the tip. And so do you hear how I have that nice zig-a-dum kind of sound? That's what we're looking for. All right, so here's the ricochet excerpt. Something like that. So hopefully that sort of demonstrates how you're supposed to do the spiccato stroke. It's definitely one of the more challenging strokes to do on, probably the most challenging stroke, I think, to do correctly for your final exam. But good luck, practice up, and do your best with it. You know, all you can do is that, and try to get a little better each time at it. So, all right, for our final excerpt, it's probably the easiest bow stroke, the tremolo. You all have been playing tremolos for a long time now. The thing about this little excerpt that is difficult is that the slashes mean different things. So just to briefly review, 1 slash usually means twice as fast or played as 8th notes. 2 slashes implies 16th notes, and then 3 slashes implies just a really fast, untimed tremolo. So we usually do tremolos at the tip of the bow, and the bow stays on the string the whole time. So you want to think of like getting a nice quick stroke like that. So I guess this is the tremolo excerpt, and you can listen and watch for all of those techniques. Make sure you pay close attention to the amount of slashes each note has, because it determines how many notes the tremolo gets on that specific note. So there you go. There's your final exam video on doing the bowing excerpts. Have fun, practice up, make me proud like you all have done all year. I believe in you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and email me or talk to me during class, and I'll be happy to go over some of these bowing techniques with you in person, or if you want to send me a quick video beforehand to let me know where you're at and seek advice, that's okay too. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you next time.